Ampel. And yeah, okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to our keynotes or our speakers today. The first one is Associate Professor Mr. Sulfikar Amir, PhD. Mr. Sulfikar Amir is Associate Professor of Science, Technology and Society at Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. His expertise lies in science and technology studies, technological politics, risk and disaster, resilience, city and infrastructure studies, and digitalization. His PhD is in Science and Technology Studies, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, USA, and he got his master degree in MSc in Industrial Science, Arizona State University, USA. Wow, so much experience. And then he also got his second Master of Science in Development Studies in Institut Teknologi Bandung, Indonesia, and Bachelor degree from Industrial Design, Institut Teknologi Bandung, Indonesia. He is an author of the Technological State in Indonesia and editor of the Socio-Technical Constitution of Resilience, documentary filmmaker as well, with the title of Healing Fukushima, A Journey to Namie, and also Nuclear Jawa. And his presentation today is titled, Can We Trust Artificial Intelligence? Oh, very, very tempting for us to listen to the presentation. So, without any further ado, let me, okay, let us please give a warm and round applause to Associate Professor Sulfikar Amir, everyone. Okay, the time is yours, Mr.
Thank you so much, Ms. Moderator. Good morning, everyone. Dean of Faculty of Dawah and Communication, Dr. Arif, faculty and students of Faculty of Dawah and Communications, distinguished speakers, and all the participants, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, this is actually my first time coming to this campus, so I'm really excited to see everyone here. Last time I came to Surabaya, I think before COVID, and that was quite different in terms of the situation. And Surabaya, of course, is always my favorite city. It's very clean, very organized, much better than where I come from. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, so I really appreciate this city because the people are nice, the food is fantastic. And
I hope you said it truthfully.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
Definitely.
Thank you
yeah.
then. Thank you very much.
I'm an honest person. Okay. Today I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence, and this is a talk that I would like to deliver from a sociological perspective because basically I'm a sociologist. Okay. But before I start, I want to know how many students are here? Raise your hand if you're students. Okay, looks like the majority. I think it's compulsory to attend this conference, right? So that you get big audience. Okay, for those students, how many of you have Instagram account? Okay. Another question. How many of you have more than one Instagram account? Be honest, I know some of you have more than one, of course. Now, another one that is still related with artificial intelligence. How many of you active user of TikTok? Active users. Active users mean you always upload.
Most of the Gen Zs.
Okay, it's interesting. So, artificial intelligence is an emerging technology that actually has a present much closer than we think because, I believe everyone has a smartphone here, right? And in your smartphone, there is artificial intelligence component in it. So artificial intelligence is part of our daily life. We just don't realize it. And the thing is, this technology has so much impact on our life, and a lot of us are not really aware of the consequences of using this artificial intelligence. I hope I can play this video.
Desa Wonobodro, Batang, Jawa Tengah ini sedang hangat diperbincangkan. Katanya membuat rudal terinspirasi dari melihat anak-anak di kampungnya yang sering main petasan pada saat Ramadan. Atikah yang menjadi TKW di Baghdad itu dikuliahkan oleh majikannya di kejuruan teknologi nuklir. Tidak disangka, ia mendapatkan prestasi terus-menerus hingga ia dapat menciptakan rudal balistik yang kecepatannya tidak bisa
in making a good career, build a good career in overseas. Well, the thing is, of course, this video is AI generated, right? Well, maybe for students, for Gen Z kids, like, most of you, you can recognize that this is AI video, AI generated video. It's really easy, right? But a lot of people, especially the older generations, are not aware that this is actually AI created, right? And it spread around across social media, especially Facebook. I'm sure Facebook is not really your platform. But older generations, still playing on Facebook. And a lot of people, got fooled by this video. They believe that this is a true story. And this is a real woman from Wonosobo or somewhere who managed to get a job in Baghdad and becomes like an engineer, right? Now the thing is, this is actually one of the consequences of the use of AI in our society, where the technology has so much permeated into our daily social life that a lot of people, especially elder generations, are not capable for recognizing, this technology in their gadgets. And it has so much impact because information like this can spread easily, become, viral, and no one really understands, or no one really knows that this is actually not true. And you can imagine how much information created by AI that can create disruptions in society because of the nature of this technology. So I would like to talk about artificial intelligence from a sociological point of view and to examine the social, cultural, and political consequences of this technology. Artificial intelligence is an emergent technology, and it was invented in the 20th century. But of course, the history of artificial intelligence goes back 100 years before, and the idea or the desire to create a machine that replicates human mind have existed probably thousands of years ago. But it was not until 19th century to 20th century that engineers and scientists began to construct, artificial machine that at least have this capability for counting and for thinking that resemble human mind. And this dates back to 19th century computing technology. So AI technologies is rooted in the history of computing. And to understand where AI come from, we need to look at the history of computing. So as you can see here on the left is the first mechanical machine that can calculate, which was invented by American engineers, Babbage, in 1822. And then it took almost 100 years before this machine became electronic with the introduction of ENIAC in 1946. ENIAC is a machine that United States used actually to defeat its enemies during World War II. So it is a powerful machine, and the origins of this machine is very much driven by the interest in the military technology. Okay, so you can see that computational technologies are very much driven by military power. And the term artificial intelligence was first coined by a group of scientists, mathematicians, physicists, and philosophers in 1956. So they have this meeting in the summer of 1956 where they call AI as a new discipline. So this is the first time the term artificial intelligence was used by engineers and scientists. And it took place in a small town in New Hampshire, a state in the United States called Dartmouth. Dartmouth is one of the Ivy League schools in the United States. But the development of artificial intelligence took some time because the concept of artificial intelligence for almost 30 years remained impractical. Why? Because it was just theoretical construct, and there is a very limited resources that is available back then to develop a machine that what we see today. So for 30 years, the concept of AI remained impractical. It only applied to a small use like a games, a chess player, and so forth. Okay. And by the end of 1990s, a lot of people was frustrated and desperate that AI will not, become a reality, because they don't see any potential development in the field that will create a momentum for AI, to become, practical, useful, and powerful. And then something happened in early 2000. And there's an event called digital revolution. And digital revolution here refers to the explosion of digital gadgets and digital technologies that people around the world start using. And one of the key components in this digital revolution is the smartphone. Okay? Smartphone, especially the one that was developed and introduced by Apple. Apple is an American company that has one of the highest values in the world. And in 2007, Steve Jobs, the founder and CEO of Apple company, introduced this small gadget called iPhone. And this iPhone became a template for all other smartphones that were to be developed by other companies like Samsung, Oppo, Huawei, later Android, and so forth. Now, the significance of this digital revolution is really, really fundamental because it creates a possibility for AI to start, moving. Why? Because with these digital revolutions, there is a lot of data that is produced by the use of smartphones. Now, smartphones What makes smartphone important in the development of AI is that smartphone is connected to the internet. Okay, before smartphone, the phone that we have, or handphone, is just for communication between one user to another. With the introduction of smartphone, now the internet gets into the smartphone, and this has become a conduit for the production of trillions of data that is stored in the servers of big companies. With this data, now it is possible for artificial intelligence to work. Because artificial intelligence can only work if they have a memory, or if they have memories, just like human intelligence. Okay? The way we think, the way we perceive our environment, the way we act are mostly based on our memories. And in the artificial intelligence system, these memories are data. Okay? Data that is collected through the use of the cell phones, smartphones, and stored in the server. And it is these servers that store this large amount, a vast amount of data that now artificial intelligence use to think and to respond. So big data, which instantly arose in around 2000, become an entry point for artificial intelligence to start working much, much better. At the same time, we got the development of advanced computing. We're talking about hardwares, hardwares that can, that have multiply capacity to process data and to store data. So you have data and you have the software, the hardware. These are two powerful and powerful components that allow artificial intelligence, to work properly. But these two things is not enough. Artificial intelligence need logic, and that logic comes from algorithms. Algorithms is a set of instruction that becomes the guidance for artificial intelligence to work. In human mind, algorithms is similar to, our logic. Okay, and our logic is something that we learn when a human is born. Right, the brain is still empty, and the baby will start learning about how to eat, how to speak, and etc. And this is the way the logic is developed. Right? Now, in artificial intelligence, this logic is similar to algorithms. Now, the thing is, algorithms is man-made. It is, it is written by engineers. Okay. So once we get this advanced computing, big data, algorithm, now artificial intelligence start to kick off, start to develop rapidly and enter a new phase where now the artificial intelligence machine can learn. And that's where we get this machine learning. The process in which artificial intelligence, build a capacity to learn from data and to develop its own data, to develop new knowledge from this data. So that's how it works, technically. Now, the artificial intelligence systems that we see today in our smartphones, in our cameras, in social media, and so forth, are due very much to rapid process of digitalization in many sectors in our public life. And AI become the basis of basically all digital platforms. Work application, urban services, in healthcare, e-government, social media, and etc. And there are at least 4 functions of AI. One is to process a large amount of data, which is impossible for us to do it manually. right? Our memory has limited capacity, while AI basically, has a large capacity depending on, the hardware. AI can also learn, as I mentioned just now, and it also has the capacity to solve problems, okay, like, mathematical, problems. And the most intelligent system or the most intelligent machine, is able to help us to make a decision. Okay. Now, there's a one recent event that, that exemplify this decision making, which happens in a country called Nepal. Okay, in Nepal, a new government just formed, and the leader was actually elected through AI-based technology. So it's interesting how they use AI for politics. And I'm sure in Indonesia, it's happening as well. Now, our life our life today is very much influenced by different kinds of artificial intelligence machines. We just don't recognize, or we just don't know the type of these machines. At least there are three machines that now exist, in our smartphones and platforms. The first one is called reactive machines. This is a type of AI that have no memory. It's very specific on performing tasks, and the inputs always deliver the same output. One example is traffic management system. Okay, so I'm sure Surabaya is one of the cities that implement smart city concept, right? Smart city is very much, reactive machines. So they have these algorithms, capture some data, and then, give feedback. Okay, just like when you use Google Map. I'm sure almost everyone here use Google Map, right? Because they don't know how to navigate, the traffic. So yeah, basically that's sort of a reactive machine. The second one is limited memory machines. Limited memory machines is based on algorithm that imitates, the way we think. It gets smarter as it receives more data to train. And it has a capacity for deep learning. That means once they learn new set of data, they will create new knowledge from this. And one example is self-driving vehicle. Maybe in Indonesia, we don't really see this self-driving vehicle, right? But in cities like Singapore, San Francisco, Tokyo, and others, it is quite common these days. And that is because, they are lacking human resources. So they use AI to replace, human operators or human drivers. So this is a type 3 of AI. The third one, which is much more familiar for many of you, is generative AI. Now, the video that I just saw, I show in the beginning of my presentations, very much a product of generative AI. Generative AI is a type of AI that learns from large data sets to create new original content, original quote unquote. Okay, and the content here include text, images, music, video, and etc. Now, how many of you have used ChatGPT? Okay. How many of you use ChatGPT for school assignment? Oh. Now, let me tell you something about ChatGPT. A few months ago, there's a study conducted by MIT researchers on ChatGPT. Okay, so they have I think about 400 participants in the study, and the study was run for 3 months, and they divided the participants into 3 groups. One used ChatGPT, one used Google search, one used nothing, just human mind. And they try to, measure brain connectivity in these three groups. And you know what happened? They discovered that ChatGPT make people stupid. Yeah. Why? Because the more you use ChatGPT, the less you use your brain, the dumb you become, the dumber you become. So just be careful with ChatGPT. Okay? In NTU, in my university, we have a very strict rules on the use of ChatGPT. Only a specific aspect of student assignment that can rely on ChatGPT. And we have this technology that can detect how much ChatGPT generated or how much AI generated content in student essays and papers. Okay? And I think UN should implement this rule as well. But they can say, okay. So now the question is, should we trust AI or should we believe that AI is reliable? Now this is something that, that goes beyond the technical aspect of AI. And I want to, briefly talk about 3 works on the AI that identify the shortcomings of AI. The first one is from Meredith Brossard, a faculty member at NYU in New York, who wrote this, brilliant book called Artificial Unintelligence. And in his research, she found that, machines or, computers are not as smart as we think. There's a lot of problems that appear that is made by, artificial intelligence. So we need to be careful. Another academic, Safia Nobel from University of Southern California, also wrote another book called Algorithms of Operation. And she argues that AI can be used for operation of the minority. Okay. Especially when it comes to search engine. Okay? In Google, for example, if you Google beautiful girls, most of the hit that gonna come out is the picture of white women. Because the concept of beauty is very much attached to this specific race. Okay? So that's a problem. Another one is actually a friend of mine, Virginia Eubanks. We went to the same school in the United States. And she wrote this book, Automating Inequality, to show that the use of AI has an impact on unemployment. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs within the next 50 years. And as a matter of fact, Gen Z kids, I'm sure the majority of you are Gen Z kids here, okay, are now being affected by the AI. And a lot of you will have problems in looking for jobs. Why? Because now the jobs that you're looking for have been filled by AI machines. Okay? And there is a prediction from World Bank saying that within the next 50 to 20 years, hundreds of millions of people around the world will lose their jobs. Okay. So this is a problem that we need to address together. Otherwise, we're gonna face a big crisis in terms of employment, in terms of inequality, in terms of our safety. So where does these problems come from? As a sociologist, I believe that the problem comes from the society because AI is a product of society. And to understand this, we need to look at how AI is socially constructed. The first one is that we need to look at the fact that the logic of AI is an imprint of human cognition. Okay? So it doesn't come from God or from other, like a supernatural entities. It comes from our human cognition. And the operation of AI follows human behavior. Okay. Now the thing is, these human behaviors are full of biases. Okay? And these biases can actually get and become embedded in AI algorithms. So when a software engineer write a code for an application or for a platform, the way he thinks about society will get into the coding. And that's how the human biases are embedded in algorithms. And we know that humans make mistakes. No. So does AI. So AI will always make mistakes. So now the problem is, to what extent that we should trust AI? And from a sociological point of view, this trust should be socially conditioned, and the intention to use AI should be framed not only from the technical elements, but also from the social perspective. And the trust in AI depends so much on the trust in institution. Why? Because AI is a form of technology that, that develops and grows depending on social, political, and cultural circumstances. And so we need to talk about, responsibility of AI in terms of the institution. And by the institution here, of course, we're talking about the government. Okay. Now, a lot of countries in the world are now trying to govern AI. And in the framework of AI governance, at least there are 5 principles that need to be implemented. The first one is fairness, and then transparency, data privacy, data security, and human first principles. If you want to regulate AI, if you want to trust AI, you need to be able to regulate. And if you want to regulate AI, we need to have these 5 principles. The question is, to what extent that these 5 principles have been have become the foundations of our government institutions. So that's the problem. Okay. And one of the indicators that we can use is what is called AI Preparedness Index. So this is an index that is developed by International Monetary Fund, and it shows the index of countries on how much they are prepared to adopt AI. Okay? So AI Preparedness Index refers to the ability of countries to adopt and benefit from the utilization of AI-based technologies. The higher their index, the better they are in benefiting from AI. The lower the index, that means they're gonna face problems in using AI. And we see here Indonesia is among countries of the emerging markets. And the index is relatively low compared to countries like Singapore, USA, Germany, Japan, Australia, and so forth. Okay? So I think this is the challenge that we need to address in our government. How much time I have? How much longer? 5 more minutes? I can wrap it up very soon.
No, it depends on you.
Okay.
We still have a lot of times.
Okay, so you trust me. Okay, so now the concept of social trust is very much linked to responsibility. Right? And that's what we learn from our values, our culture, that you can trust someone if that person is responsible. You can trust government if this government is responsible. You can trust AI if you know that this AI is developed based on the value of responsibility. So social trust in AI is about human responsibility to develop intelligent system that is based on human principle and values. So this is something that we need to look at. Especially, I think, and I think this is highly relevant to this faculty of Dawah and communication, because in Dawah and communication, we talk about values, right? And social trust in AI, so responsible AI has at least 3 components. One is trustworthiness, okay? The second one is sustainability, and the third one is human AI. So trustworthiness is about the transparency of the system and to what extent that this system is subject to accountability. Okay? If the government develop and use AI that we cannot question, that we cannot criticize, then don't expect people will trust this AI. So trustworthiness is fundamentally important. The second one is sustainability. Sustainability here refers to the impact of AI on the environment. Let me give you one example why AI can damage the environment. Okay? If you look at the servers of OpenAI, OpenAI is the company that run this ChatGPT. Okay? They have buildings to store the servers. Okay? And they're going to build a new location for their servers with the size 5 times bigger than Jakarta city. And you can imagine how much space they're going to use and how much water they're going to extract from the ground. Why water? Anybody knows why AI needs water? For cooling, exactly. Yeah. So ChatGPT, Gemini, Midjourney, and others use a lot of water resources, and this can create water crisis in many places. One example in Nigeria. Nigeria becomes one of the locations for AI company servers. And now they're having water crisis because a lot of water is now being extracted by these AI companies. So just be careful when Indonesian governments invite AI company to build their servers in Indonesia, especially around Surabaya, right? They're gonna use a lot of water that you depend on. So you need to be careful with that. That's why responsible AI must take into account the aspect of sustainability. To what extent that these systems will not damage the environment. And the last one is human design AI. AI that needs to be, that need to focus on the needs of society, not the needs of corporations, not the needs of governments, but the needs of societies and communities. Only by taking into account human design AI that we can create an AI system that would benefit a whole society. So there are 4 takeaways that I would like to highlight in this conclusion. The first one is that we need a certification tool to reinforce the responsible use of AI. And this is exactly what I know that the government of Indonesia is trying to do. So the process has to be transparent and has to be accountable. The second one is that we need to invite academic experts from different disciplines. AI is just too important to leave only to engineers. Experts from communication, experts from law, experts from social sciences, experts from philosophy and ethics should be involved in the development of AI. Otherwise, AI will just a creation of these engineers that may harm, the people. The third one is that the design of responsible AI is impossible without keeping the end users in the loop. That means everyone should be involved. Everyone should participate, especially the Gen Z kids, Gen Z, population, because they are the ones who will be affected. So you guys need to be actively questioning anything related to the use of AI, because your life will be, deeply affected by artificial intelligence. So you need to be aware and be active. And the last one is that with the increased workforce diversity, we can be sure that the data that are used by AI will not create biases, will not privilege certain groups over other groups. So we need to create sort of a fair AI system so that not everyone is disadvantaged by the AI. And with that note, I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to any questions.
Wow. Thank you very much, Mr. Sulfikar, for such a wonderful presentation. Yeah, thank you very much for enlightening us.